I'm interested, first and foremost, in the landmark nature of this. How much, Michel, did you think, were you surprised by this accelerated decision of the FDA?
Thank you for having me. And first, I would like to say that it is a day we'll always remember. And I want to applaud the Biogen team for their resilience, for following the science all the time, and their humility, because neuroscience is complex. It's not easy. And we were not that anxious because we did follow the science since years, and on this very specific program since many years, since 2007, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So it's an important day. It's an important day for the patients, for the caregivers, for the families. For almost 2 decades, there was no innovation in that space. Look at how the world has evolved during 2 decades. Yeah. Not for the patients. Today, it's a new start. Today, we're opening a new chapter. And I'm delighted to be in a position to have the honor and the responsibility to do it well.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit more about that responsibility. First of all, congratulations to the company. And of course, this is an encouraging sign for all of those people suffering from Alzheimer's and of course their families who have to suffer alongside them, Michel. But there's also a lot of work here for you to prove that not only is this treatment effective, but it's also safe.
So nowadays you have, 3 treatments that have shown that binding characteristic to the amyloid plaque that is toxic around the brain and accumulates over decades. The way a plaque is toxic in the heart, we are able to penetrate the brain and gradually remove the plaque. And this is critical. And now there is not only aducanumab, there are 3 compounds. The next compound in the line is the one we have in collaboration with Eisai, that is BAN2401, that is now in phase 3, for which the phase 3 readout will be in a bit more than a year from now. So the FDA has done a thorough analysis of the entire data set. We had more than 2 million pages of scientific data being shared with the US regulator, having the efficacy and the safety profile thoroughly evaluated.
I understand that, Michel, but there's also pushback by some scientists who question whether amyloids themselves are actually sort of the key to solving Alzheimer's. So you have a drug that may be successful in targeting those amyloids. How confident are you that that really is the problem that needs to be solved?
Well, it removes gradually the underlying cause, the pathophysiology of the disease. Down the road, there might be additional hypotheses, but this will take many years before we can see the scientific proof. And as I was just saying, today you have 3 compounds with similar activity, and we are the first one in the market. In a few years, there will be others, and we invite them because the market is so large.
Talk to us about the pricing strategy. Of course, you're saying that it's about $56,000 a year for the cost. For an average consumer, including the multiple year visits for a transfusion, required MRI scans, what would it cost the average consumer?
I think, to get things in perspective, we need to consider that the starting point is a $600 billion that society is spending in direct and indirect cost on this disease in the US only, and that the epidemiology is planned to triple by 2050. So yes, there will be some investment finally on treatment, on diagnosis, and I wish that we have diagnosis reimbursed soon. And technology is progressing very fast in that space, and I hope that soon we'll have also a blood diagnostics that will help, that will ease the broader population to have a biomarker in addition to the clinical diagnostic. This is important.
Michel, of course, we are a global network. You are a global man. You've led businesses over in Europe, in China. I'm sitting here just flying back from the UK a week or so ago. I think of this FDA approval and the knock-on effects globally. 6 million afflicted by Alzheimer's here in the United States, but this is a global issue for many a family. Do you think that we'll see other decision makers, other regulators look at the decision made in the US and fast track too?
I believe so. I believe so, because the US FDA is so important. And they are the one that I worked the most on the global data set since more than 2 years. But we are also, with a similar level of scientific engagement and respect, working with the Europeans, with EMA, with Japan, with Australia, with Canada, with Switzerland, with Brazil, where the product is filed and currently under review. And our aim is to make the product available everywhere.
With regards to the pricing and with regards to the availability, Michel, do you start to see any time in the near future where that price would meaningfully come down?
So it's too early to speculate. We will be working. We are very obviously engaged, and we are prioritizing sustainability for the system with our biosimilars, our responsible price increase, and everything we do. And we'll be working very closely with Medicare and CMS in order to monitor very closely what it means in terms of drug adoption, in terms of drug utilization. And we committed not to take price for the next price increase for the next 4 years. This is almost, we didn't see that often, certainly the first time for our company. And I believe it's a big commitment. And in addition, obviously, I've asked my team to plan for the most equitable launch ever. We are partnering with CVS, we are learning from the latest pandemic, and we want to secure that the underserved population, but also those who have a higher incidence risk, the Latinx, the Black, African American, have a same chance for diagnosis and access. This is critical.